So there's been this really heartbreaking event recently. It's gotten a lot of attention. And you sent us, well, a whole stack of sources, news reports, other materials.
Yeah, asking us to help make sense of it.
Exactly. And these sources, they focus on the incident involving Sana Yousaf. She was 17, a social media influencer.
And known for her advocacy for women's rights, that's what stands out in these reports. The date was June 2nd, 2025, in Islamabad, Pakistan.
Right. So our mission here in this deep dive, using only the sources you shared, is to just pull out the key reported details. What happened, the immediate fallout, the reaction, the legal steps mentioned.
Okay, yeah. Let's unpack what these specific sources tell us.
Where do we start? This suspect.
The reports identify him as Umar Hayat, also known as Kaka. And the sources, they describe his actions leading up to it. They state he'd been trying to contact Sana Yousaf persistently.
And she'd rejected him.
Yeah.
Repeatedly, the reports say.
Yes, that's the picture painted. And this leads, according to the sources, to the incident itself.
Which they describe in really stark terms. He reportedly forced his way into her home and shot her. Point-blank range. That's what the materials state.
A horrific detail reported there. And it's also noted in these documents that he fled the scene right after.
Taking her mobile phone with him, that detail is mentioned.
It is, but what's also highlighted quite consistently across these sources is how quickly the police reportedly responded.
Swift apprehension. They apparently caught him within 24 hours.
That's what the sources say, yes. Which is, well, remarkably fast based on these accounts.
And the sources add another pretty crucial reported detail. He later confessed.
He reportedly confessed to the murder, yes, and authorities, according to the materials, recovered the weapon alleged to be used.
And her phone.
From him.
From him, yes. That's all laid out in the reports we have.
Okay, so naturally, an event like this, the reaction must have been huge.
Oh, absolutely. The sources you sent make that very clear. Widespread public reaction. The murder reportedly sparked outrage, not just in Pakistan.
But internationally as well. Internationally, too, according to these documents.
And we see some evidence of that, right? The reports mention that hashtag JusticeForSanaYousaf.
Exactly. Trending widely on social media. It gives you, a sense of that digital footprint of the reaction based on these materials.
And beyond social media.
Well, the sources detail responses from prominent public figures, women's rights groups. They reportedly condemned the act quite strongly.
And these groups, according to the sources, framed it in a broader context.
They did. According to the sources, these groups stated that this event reflects the violence women can face, particularly in a patriarchal society. Now, it's really important we stress.
Yes.
This is what the sources report these groups said. It's their perspective as presented in the materials, not, our own assertion.
Understood. Sticking strictly to the sources provided.
Yeah.
Okay, so shifting to the legal side described in these documents. Umar Hayat was arrested, then presented in court.
That's right. And the reports state he was remanded, 14 days in police custody for further investigation.
And did the court issue any specific directions according to the sources?
Yes, the materials mention specific orders. An identification parade was directed.
Okay.
And a deadline was set for the investigation. It needed to be completed by June 18th, 2025.
June 18th. Wait, based on today's date, June 17th, that reported deadline is tomorrow.
It is, yeah. That's a notable point from the documents. The timeline is very immediate.
So let's just quickly wrap up this deep dive based only on the sources you sent us. We've touched on the tragic event itself involving Sana Yousaf, the reported facts around the suspect, his alleged actions, the swift apprehension.
The confession, the recovery of the phone and weapon, all is reported.
And that immediate public outcry, the trending hashtag, the statements reported from rights groups.
And those initial legal steps, the remand, the court orders, that upcoming deadline, all strictly according to the materials provided.
Right. This exploration, drawing solely from these specific sources, it gives us a reported account of the event and what immediately followed.
Yeah, it lays out the sequence as reported.
So, based purely on the details presented in these sources we've discussed, the reported persistence beforehand, the quick arrest, the public reaction that the sources say highlighted broader issues, and that immediate legal timeline, what questions does this raise for you, the listener? Maybe about personal safety, especially in this digital age, or perhaps about how communities react when something like this happens, or maybe about those issues that the advocacy groups reportedly raised. Just something to consider as you reflect on the information shared in these sources.